Hello,
Hello.
friends. You scared Marty Azalea with that.
Oh, sorry.
Hello, I am Cynthia Thornton, and this is Azalea Bell.
Hi.
And Marty, and we are Greengirlstudios, and this is our Thursday magic hour. We usually go on Wednesdays, but yesterday we went to our friend's birthday party, and it was pretty fun. It was a good time, but it had the same times as our lives, so we thought, you know what, we always go. And this is important. It's our friend's 50th. So we wanted to show our support, and we did, and it was a lot of fun. We saw a lot of friends we had seen in since the big crafties, a lot of big crafties, a lot of Asheville area artists, and some from Tennessee. Some of our friends from Tennessee.
Let's do
Hello, Melanie.
a video and sound check.
Oh, yes, sound check, friends. Listen, we started Restream, we've said that a couple times before, but if someone could give us a thumbs up or down on sound and picture, we are plugged in to everything. But, let's just, if one of you out there could give us a little bit of a, sound check, that'd be great. I'm looking at everything. So Nilda says, nice seeing you. Hello. Hello, Nilda. Hello, Melanie. Hello, my friends.
I wonder what we're missing, our soundtrack.
Oh, well, my soundtrack today was Mel Robbins. If y'all know the Mel Robbins podcast, she's one of my favorite podcasters. I think she's also an author. She did this book called The 5-Second Rule, and I've been listening to one called The Let Them Theory, and it's a pretty good book. Very timely for me anyway. Oh, thank you, my friends. I see Melanie says everything looks and sounds amazing. Yes. Nelda says everything is good. I got pretty tired, and I'm sure y'all did too, of having that, business.
He's a perfect loaf. Look at that cat.
I can't really see it. Let me see.
Show
Azalea likes to show that cat's face.
He's a perfect loaf. He's happy to be here. There's not even any treats, and he's just chilling. He's a valued member of the company.
Mm-hmm. You might be wondering how we get anything done with a cat such as that in our lives. The answer is we kind of don't. We kind of get distracted with the look of him. So, listen, we have been prepping ourselves to death trying to get ready for the TGBE. That's tomorrow night is the preview night. So if you don't know what that is, it's a free event that we've been holding ever since the pandemic. And it was a way that we could kind of survive, because all the shows were closed. I mean, it was right before Beat and Button, right before Beat and Button, right? And then Tucson, actually, that Tucson was the last one before that pandemic really kicked in. And I tell you, it was a lifesaver. We grew that group from, in that span of time, there's now like 12,000 members. It's pretty awesome what we've accomplished. Well, the main thing we've accomplished is we're still in business, which is, if you know anything about this industry, it's kind of amazing because, not that many people. We had several friends, go and get real jobs. So real jobs. This is, to me, it's funny. Our friends at when we were at the fiber retreat a couple weeks ago, our friend Rick, he was like, when we used to have real jobs before we had a store, and Azalea and I were like, we're pretty blessed to have, this is our job right now. We're doing it, hanging out with Marty, making things, carving. Oh, Diane says, I was looking for you last night. I know. Azalea put up a message saying that we were attending our friend's birthday party. It's our friend's 50th, and it was a pretty important night we didn't want to miss. And it was awesome. We got to connect with friends that we hadn't seen in a minute. And cat hair in my hair. And it was just nice to get to see my friends, and to kind of see how everyone else was feeling. And it's interesting, when you get together a bunch of other artists, the first things was like, how you doing? Because And anytime there's something that happens, like with like, when the show shut down and people were kind of scared, when the towers hit, people kind of, they get fearful and they want to hunker down and not leave their house and just sort of, just like to wait and see. And that was a pretty scary time. Personally, what I did, I had a little bit of a shopping problem back in the day, was I ended up buying like a new Game Boy, I bought a bunch of stuff that first day, but that was like my comfort. It was, I don't know why it was a comfort, but it was. So Dan says, good, you were partying. Yeah, you know what? It's funny that we had the party that we went to was at the building. What was that building called? There's a really beautiful building downtown that they press records in.
Citizen Vinyl.
The Citizen Vinyl building. And I do the same thing every time. Like I start at the bottom and I mingle a little bit, get some food and drink. And then I'm like, well, I need to sit down. So I go up into like the upper level, and it's like in a mall, where there's like chairs and tables, just like or like the airport. And I found a spot and I hunkered down. And I didn't really, and then I'd wave at people and then get them to come, upstairs. So, it was kind of fun. All right, I see some of my friends. Let's see who's here. Let's see. Hello, my friends. Hello, my beaded bliss. Hello, Sandy. Hi. Hello, Sandy. Hello, Mary. And Mary says, we're grateful you're doing your art. Thank you. Yeah, no, this is work. It can be, but I can tell you that some work is, I don't know, Nilda. I'd have to disagree a little bit on that one. As someone who's done hard manual labor, there's a big difference for me. My dad owned a landscaping business for 30 years, and that work, listen, that's not the same kind of work as this. In the Florida sun, cutting grass, trimming, potting, laying sod, that kind of work, that's back-breaking work. And I tell you, I don't mind being outside, but that's next level. I guess I'm not built for that kind of work. Karen says, hello, everyone. Hello, Karen. All right, let's talk about what we're going to show today. I thought today that I would just kind of, we've been prepping so hard for making these kits. We have a new kit. I've been putting together, I found a bunch of stuff. We've been rearranging the house. It's like a never-ending project, right? But, the problem is that when you have the ADHD, you open a box and suddenly it's like memory lane. You're like, oh, remember when we got this? Remember when that thing happened? And you get down to about 2 inches of the box, and then you're looking at your stuff, and then the box nothing really happens. You just put it back. And basically, I just need someone to stand over me and be like, are you done with that box? And usually I get my friend Joanne to help me, and she's like, she's kind of she just gets on there and does it. So it's good to have that. Hello, Anthea. Yes. All right. So I thought, I've had this necklace laid out on my board for a while, but I thought, hey, I promised my buddy Sarah a necklace for her birthday. That was like 4 months ago. She's very patient and kind, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to get my station here. So anyway, TGB this weekend, we've got a really nice guest coming. Now, if you have any interest in metalwork, this is not one to miss, because it's going to be the last segment on Saturday. Francesca, I can't think her last name. She's the owner and proprietor of the Makery in Texas. She's going to stop in and do a segment tomorrow night. I think it's around 7 Eastern time. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but she's going to do show how to do stuff with a torch and how to make these little silver drops. There's these drops they make in Thailand, and they drill them, and she's going to show how to make those. I don't know if she's going to show the drilling part, but at least how to melt down silver scrap and make these, you drop them into water after you have, the name of that, well, what we call that is when you're melting it down, you're purifying the silver a little bit so that it's usable for casting. And so sometimes you can do that to burn out any kind of impurities. And that's it's pretty satisfying because when you hit it with a torch, things tend to want to go around, like with glass making or lamp work, it wants to make a sphere. It's just like the tension, surface tension. And when you drop into cold water, it can make some crazy shapes. It used to be a big thing in the 70s. I wasn't around, I wasn't making jewelry in the 70s, but my friend Bob was telling me, he's like, that was like the lamest thing. And I was like, kind of sounds fun. But he's a purist. So his idea of waxwork is like, you need to carve it, you need to go at it old school, or it's not waxwork. So, that's one perspective, but it's fun to do all the different things, and some of it's kind of, that spontaneity of dropping hot metal into a bucket of cold water. You can get some crazy patterns. I think the distance too, how far you drop it, is a factor. All right, I'm gonna flip this camera on. It took me I don't know what I was doing, just standing there talking for literally 10 minutes. It's funny. We did this. What day was that when we went to the? I went to a thing called Sketchbook Club the other day, and I didn't know what to expect. I'd never gone to this person's sketchbook club, and it was mostly all young people, which I don't have a problem with. Okay, let me get back up the truck a little. And adjust it's a little bit on the super bright side. All right, here we are. Am I too close? I don't think I'm too close. So 2 options. I have this necklace that I can put together. You hear all you can hear my beads just rolling onto the floor. So this is some lots that I had put together, and I'm thinking about, I put this together a while ago. I had a whole series of these. I've made a similar necklace. When I was in Tucson, I carried this small container of beads. Let me see if I can find it. It was over here somewhere. So this was my bead collection from when I was in Tucson. It's kind of stuff that I bought and stuff that was already in my collection. Oh, hello, Anthea. Hello. Oh, here's one of my little moons. That's coming soon. Man, talk about kind of today was kind of a whirlwind day. We ran around and went over to Cherry Tree to say hi to our friend Jen. And it is nuts with these tariffs. People are they don't know what to think about it. My personal viewpoint on it, I don't really have, I don't really know much about, to be perfectly honest, I am not an economist or anything. So I do not have, my take on that type of situation is, I guess, sort of, I know what I know from just seeing what I've seen on the news on quick blurbs. And I hate it because I don't know enough about it. I'm just this seems to me something that I should educate myself on. But I find that I just don't have my battery for that type of thing. I don't want to say I'm exhausted, but I'm pretty tired of being concerned for the whole world. I kind of just want to not think for a minute and just sort of relax. Azalea and I were talking about it. Sometimes it can be exhausting.
I sent out a newsletter about that.
Yeah, it is. Oh, hello, Clem. Hello, Cherie. Hello, my friends. Yeah, part of me is this seems like history repeating itself. I'm not a big history buff, but Greg is, and we watch a lot of shows that there's a lot on. He loves World War II. For me, I don't want to say I tune out, but it kind of causes me a little bit of anxiety thinking about it. So it's not my very favorite subject. Although, I do like to watch some of these period shows that feature that time period. I mean, we love Downton Abbey. Is that the right time period? I don't really remember.
That's the early 1900s. That's World War One.
Oh, didn't they deal with that in like the later seasons?
World War II? I don't think so.
Oh no, they didn't. That's right. I'm getting them
That's
confused.
in the 40s, 30s.
That I was thinking of Call the Midwife. That's the right. Isn't that the right time period?
Yeah.
That's been several years since I've seen it.
I've never seen Call the Midwife, so I don't know.
Oh, Carolyn says, "Hi everyone, my computer is so slow this week. I could not get on the chat earlier." Oh. All right, so I'm going to use, I had some prepped. Now I don't see it. It's like I tidied up so well that I don't even see where I put my stuff. Hey, honey, do you see any of these sitting around where I pre-glued them? I thought I put them somewhere. Now I don't see them.
Which ones?
These are nylon. I'm going to string these. And I'm trying to decide on a color. So you all have seen me do this before. I like this. This might be a good one, but it's awfully fine. Some of these are pretty big. So when deciding what to do, you can use any kind of cord. You could even use, and one time we did use soft touch. And, I see people talking about it. Oh, Carolyn says, we are back in the 80s with all the world conflicts and economic uncertainty. Yeah, but now it's like we have access to all of the information and misinformation all at once, so we can really feel the burn. We can really feel that anxiety. Part of me just wants to, we were talking about this morning with Jen. We were like, kind of, don't you want to a little bit go back to the days when we knew like 50 people total and that was it? And I kind of feel that way, but at the same time, I'm more like, I don't know if I want to go, if I'd say I'd go that far. Because I kind of like having friends all over the place,
I've seen people say that humans were not intended to know all the things that we know, as far as being able to see what's happening anywhere in the world at any given moment is so heavy on us and causes anxiety like crazy. I put in the newsletter today that it's okay to be burnt out looking at all the things that are causing so much anxiety and strife in the world, and it's okay to take a break from it, and it doesn't make you overly sensitive or weak or ignorant to avoid looking at it for a while and give yourself a break, because how far can you go? How thin can you stretch yourself as far as reading every headline and every article and absorbing all of the negative information when there's, I don't know. It's good to take a break, though. It's good to work on your projects and to let yourself be creative and let your mind let your brain go smooth for the moment and not be in constant fight or flight mode, because that's not good for you. It's not good for your heart and your brain.
You pass me the spray check. I can see some over there. You know what? These are my favorites. I hope this fits. Some of these have small holes, and you never know. Like these guys, some of the card beads sometimes have itty bitty.
This cat is so handsome.
So I see some things. Oh, Call the Midwife is from the 1960s. Huh. I guess I'm misremembering. I thought it was really early. Now, I will say it's been a long time since I saw that show, so I guess I was just thinking must be thinking of another show. We watch a lot of period shows. British TV, it's our favorite.
My favorite right now
Even though I don't think Call the Midwife is it?
What?
No, it's not British, is it? I'm going crazy.
I literally have never watched that show. Don't ask me, because I have no idea. I have never seen Call the Midwife. Never even seen a clip of it. I don't know who's in it.
That show always made me cry, so that's probably why I blocked it out. Every episode.
Probably why I've never seen it, because of that.
Well, it's not like sad crying. Some of it's like happy crying, But I cry at the drop of a hat. So, I mean, I'll cry if, like, I see people hug. Like, in the airport, I'd have to, like, stare down at my phone and not look up. Melanie says, just watch it with tissues. Every episode. Yeah, exactly. Carolyn says, creating is surely a therapeutic process and so fun, too. Yes, it is. I would say that. It's funny. It's like, arts are the very first thing to get cut, but what did we do during the pandemic? You think about that. What were humans doing? We were living our best lives, learning how to bake bread, cooking. I mean, I went on the quest to perfect pudding, and I think I perfected it. So what I'm doing here is I'm gluing these two strands together. This is like the I feel like my secret. That's not even a secret. I tell everybody about it. What you're doing this for is you're getting two cords to become a needle. Now, you could do this with silk. You could do this with hemp. Do it with whatever you have on hand. The glue is not super important. I like fray check because it dries really quick. You don't have to even do what I'm doing. I've seen before, you could take a piece of plastic and you don't have to get it on your fingers. But I don't mind it getting on my fingers. It'll harden up and you'll get a nice firm little needle. We'll let it hang off the edge of the table and I'll keep futzing with these. We'll see how far along I get. I was going to do my friend's necklace, but I was looking at it and I was like, I don't want to rearrange them. I don't want to rearrange those beads. I like the ones here. Even though I've made this necklace several times because I had this same container. I think the bead holes were pretty small. Let's see. It's one of my big pet peeves is when it's drilled on this side. See, big, tiny. So I don't know what I did with those. I do like this story. That'd be pretty in there. Maybe like this. Take up some of that, but maybe do these have good size holes? Yeah, that the thing with the tariffs is pretty crazy because, Jen, one of the things about China is they have ultra mastery when it comes to drilling bead holes. Like they're like.
If Wendy's here, she's saying drink right now.
Wendy, if you're here, raise your beverage because we just said big bead hole. Oh, Gumnet says, yes, it's an English show. I figured it was because we tend to watch only the stuff that's on Acorn or BritBox. So what I'm doing here is color blocking. You can see I'm going through a range of colors, but you can see there's a couple spaces where, the green is morphing. You could go, and this is just me being wacky, go in there and change it up. And sometimes it's kind of fun to put an unexpected color. I don't know how y'all feel about that, where the green shifts to this pink. I think it's pretty. I like it. I'm going to do more of it right there. Maybe it should shift down to a kind of a purple. But really, I'm using a limited. I gotta move this. I just looked and so it's kind of distracting. I found this bead in my collection. I got this in a trade at Bead and Button one year. These guys were my neighbors. I don't know if you can see it, but it's so finely detailed. Man, the Japanese, do they have an eye for glass bead making or what? And this is I was getting ready to use this. This is my friend made this one too. This is hollow. Isn't that crazy? Get a scoop. Oh, Karen says, Cynthia and Azalea create a calm space to get away and learn. Thank you. Oh, and Anthea says, I think Call the Midwife takes place in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Oh, I see. Because, I remember they were hiding. I don't remember some of those early episodes. I remember crying pretty hard. I don't know why. Maybe because birth is magical and scary. clearing some of this space. Well, I hope y'all can join us this weekend for the TGBE. I'm looking forward to it. There's several folks I want to see what they do on their segment time. Right. All right. Oh, Clem says beautiful. Are you talking about this great big box of beads or all of my collection of glass beads? I have a pretty big artisan glass bead selection. This is one. This is from Wendy Bergman. She's in Australia. I miss my friends. I used to see them all the time at the beach shows. You don't see them as much anymore because the shows, the big shows are now, it's just Tucson. That seems big. Changing up the size. I feel like when I'm working these, when you're making a necklace, I feel like having a variety of textures and shapes leads to a pretty interesting mix. So some of these beads are pretty similar because these are from the Tucson collection. So I had them on hand and I had this laid out similar to what this is. It got shaken. This plate got shaken a couple times. And I'm repositioning. So when I'm making them, sometimes what I'll do is make this as if it's a necklace already. So I'll work in a loop so I can see where there's going to be heavy points. Anything that's a bigger shape is going to be a little bit heavier. So I want to put something maybe in here to balance it. You want to get it. So if you have all the heavy things on one side, that side is where it's always going to be going down to the front. So keep that in mind when you're working. If you're making a treasure necklace or pretty much any kind of necklace that you want it to have spin around your neck, not everyone does. That's not, if you have a clasp or something, check this one out. This is silver. This just came out of the flask. So this is going to be in pewter, but I feel like that's going to be a good one. Yeah. Karen says, I'm sorry I didn't purchase all the Bead and Button annual beads they produced. Yeah. Those were the days because they made some delightful beads. See, this is a good transition. So if you're ever wondering why I like fuchsite so much, here's why. If you look, you get a little bit of that ruby. That's ruby. This one actually is not fuchsite. This is ruby and kyanite. So these two grew together. And I checked it when I was at the show because sometimes you get something that's not what you think it's going to be. Let me see if it'll show it. When you get that glow, you see that? That's the ruby in there. And this, instead of the fuchsite, it's in kyanite. So you have that kind of a hazy blue. It's a good transition bead. If you're going between this purple and this, this is like, that's not a ruby, but it's visually close. And so what I like to do is do a color shift. It's my favorite. This green doesn't really belong there, but we're going to leave it there because I think it looks pretty. And look at this. These aren't dyed. That's serpentine. My screen is showing that it's really yellow, but they're kind of an acid yellow color. Oh, thank you, Helen. Helen says, love the necklace layout. Thank you. I love making these, and I'll spend so much time doing this part of it, but this is my favorite part, is the layout. So I'm going to decide, right now I'm looking at this and thinking, okay, so where do we want to make the opening? If you are going to have it where you want to have this as part of the focal, kind of go around and see, where do I want to open this up? There's a long side of this kind of being one color tone. So maybe I'll have it there, or I could have it here. But I know that I don't want to put it too close to this because this weighs a little bit. Like in silver, it has some weight. So I have to balance it so that I can spin this necklace anywhere on my neck. So I like to wear this. So if I'm wearing a blue shirt, sometimes I'll go with the orange facing forward. Or if you want to match it out, you can go with the blue side, So that's the benefit of having a necklace like this, is that most time, a lot of times your necklace will only be seen from from one side, like the front, or from, if your hair's on covering your neck, you might not see the back. Let's see, do those have a nice large bead hole? Possibly. I keep putting that orange. You can see which is my favorite. I'm loving that. I'm in a real sunstone mood lately. I got these great big ones, and they're not as heavy though, so I'm not looking for weight, but I'm looking for visual weight. And see these kind of big, I want to put something on this side, so maybe it's this side it's going to go, so that these can be, I don't know, let me see. Let me just think about this. What do you think, little Dar? Where would you put that clasp if it was your necklace?
I don't know.
She's doing something.
I'm very busy.
What are you doing?
I'll tell you about it later.
Ooh. Yeah, looking good. Carolyn says, I love the mix of gemstones. Now I'm inspired to make a potpourri of gems and beads and add some unusual glass or ceramic. And Helen says, you are so right on the size and shapes variety, not just colors. No. So I'm going to get out. Well, I've got it just to illustrate that. I have some, but I haven't put clasps on quite yet. Let me see. Where's the one? Sometimes I'll put my, unfinished in these. I got these online somewhere. And it's to keep them from getting tangled up until I can put a clasp on it. Because sometimes I'll have a day where I just put clasps. All right. So here's one. This is using a very similar, like almost the same. So I think I made this at the airport. So this is all the same beads. So you can see where, if you put in, like these metal beads have a little bit of weight. But their visual weight is not that much. So I put them in between some heavier or bigger sized beads. So, and that this one's a little bit larger, but I try to balance it. So if you have some that are big, you don't want to put all the big ones in one side, because that side will go right to the front. So this one, yeah, it's kind of a rainbow. So you can kind of choose. And see, I put it where I interrupted a section of blue so that the clasp would be right here, and it would still function. If you have a decorative clasp, this is kind of decorative, I think, not just like a lobster clasp, although that would work. It would not. It would seem like you had the back of the necklace in the front. But if you have something like a button or something that's decorative, like this little guy, check this out. This is coming soon. Hopefully, they will be ready for this weekend. I'm trying to get them in pewter. Isn't that so charming? I think it would fit pretty well. Ooh, did you hear that? That's some thunder. Hopefully it doesn't interrupt our stream. I hate it when that happens. These are a bit small. This one might not be. This little alligator. This one might be really cute to tuck in, because it's even though it's small, it has a little bit. See, curve the tail so that it would be easy to stay in place. Here's how it would work. Like if you were to slip that in there, and it would look like that. Maybe like this. It's kind of like he's lassoed in that little loop. Carolyn says, is that one you are showing knotted? Let's see. Yes, wherever I stuck it. Here it is. This is a knotted one. And this is, what is it, daughter? Your face is like. So I've got 2 strands, see. And the reason you do that is so that you can get in there. Look, there's hardly any gaps if you pull it tight. So I'm going to show how you do that. Melanie says, I love that salamander and alligator. Thank you.
Hey, I need to do something on my phone real quick. Can we switch to the other camera for just a second?
Sure.
Sorry about that. Sorry for the interruption, y'all. I was not paying attention to the activities on our own live tonight. I'm sorry. I was locked into something else.
And like this one's a knotted one.
proceed. I can change it back. There you go.
Thank you. All right, let's check this. All right, this is ready to go. So gluing the two ends or the two pieces together. Usually I like to go a little bit more. This is kind of a weak glue job, very weak. And so you can trim. I'm going to take off a millimeter or so. God, that was some dull action right there. Oh, your phone says low battery. I don't know why it's not.
Oh, is it not plugged
Must
into
not be
the
plugged. It must be because it looks like my. Is it loose or something? Check it out and see.
thing? Everything's plugged in. I'm not sure why it would not be charging. I've got everything
Weird.
plugged into this block here. We can probably switch some cords around if. Well, actually, I don't know what I would even switch around, but let me see if I can figure this out.
Helen says Marty is cracking me up.
He's chilling.
Yes, Carolyn says the knotted necklaces have a nice feel and flow. I love a knotted necklace. I love it. I mean, this feels different to me, and probably not just to me. But you know what? If this breaks, all these beads will go onto the floor. If this breaks, I will lose 2, maybe 1 bead. You know? Oh, and look at the back of this one. Looks like a pomegranate, or not a pomegranate, a persimmon. And then this is this other side. It's a little sphinx. That could work too. And so sometimes I do this. I'll make this kind of layout. And for me, this works well. If you're trying to make the type of necklace that is good in the front or back, it doesn't really matter. And you could use one of the traditional bead boards if that's, you don't have to do this way, because sometimes you want one that has like the center and then the focal point, you have it where it's balanced that way, and that can be useful. This way I find I can imagine twisting it to, I can twist it around my neck. Karen says, your organic shaped gemstones look great together. Mine, not too much. So I tend to stick to basic shapes. That's just because I'm a big fan of I like a big palette of colors. I love that. And I think of my collection as like a paint palette. And I think like this is my palette right now that I'm working with. And so I can pull things from this, and I can try and find things that go with the flow of the necklace. I don't have many rounds, but this is a really good color right there. But again, visually, is that kind of, I might want to go in here and find a bigger one to balance that. This is the only spot right here that's kind of tricky. It's on, this pink is a kind of cool pink. I think it lends itself better to this warmer, more yellowish tone. And I'm looking at this like I want to, like it's going to fit me. If you measure it, you could measure them and figure out just how long. But when you string it, that'll give you a good indicator of how it will lay on your neck too. And just add a few, when you add your knots, it's going to add length. Sometimes I don't even I'll have this much bead if I try it on and the necklace is, maybe it's just, I don't know, like too long. Then I can adjust it. So maybe what I'll do is separate this right here. And I will I think that one would be a good one. Right there. Oh, Carolyn says the chunky faceted gems are so unique, and I love the contrast with the round gemstones. Yeah, what I think is the bridge is I have some rounds, but they're also faceted. So even though there's some that are smooth and some that are, most of them are smooth, or faceted, to have that variation is kind of fun, I think. So I'm going to put the clasp here, I think. All right, so starting with this, I've made a point, and then this is just the fun part. You're just stringing. There's no. I'm going to follow the pattern all the way down. I hope that it doesn't rain. I don't want it to rain right now. It rained all day, and sometimes when it rains, it kind of messes up my stream. I'm going to try and string as fast as I can so I can show. I hope to get to the clasp part, because the clasp part for me is like a whole thing in and of itself. Makes me kind of anxious. My ears are popping. I could tell like the rain is coming. I was going to go on a bike ride today. No such luck. I stayed over at that cherry tree too long. Karen says it's raining here too. They had controlled fires. There were signs all along the road that said, on the way on 40, that said, do not stop. The fire is contained. And so they were burning like this, all the big trees and limbs that had fallen over the last, since like, I'm like, when, it feels like forever. Like from Helene, there's so much like wood debris, and they've been storing it in these places around town, and so now I think they're doing controlled burn. Helen says, I love the movement of a knotted necklace. I do too. I just feel like it feels kind of magical. It's like with every knot, it just feels like there's something special about it. So I have these. I learned about this through Kate. These are silicone, and it's called a thread keeper. Gumnut says back burning. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I don't know the technical name. That must be the technical name for it. But they're burning all that stuff, I guess, to prevent it from getting out of control. Because we did have fires here. So that's pretty much, I think that's the largest one on that. So as I use the thread, I just back it up. I don't want it to be too long because they can get tangled up and that can kind of ruin your enjoyment of the process. And you can see that happened fast. The longest part of this whole thing was laying this out. But to me, that's the most fun part. I don't know about y'all, but I love sorting these beads. And I think that goes to some primal part of our brains that are hunters and gatherers, like finding patterns. Okay, do I like that? See, I have kind of a shift here where there's this peachy one and this one. It's supposed to be my connective part, my color shift. I don't know if I like it. I don't want to go back, but I also, we'll just leave it. Like Kate says, there's no going back. Sometimes there's going back for me. I will take this stuff off and keep removing it. It looks pretty good. Oops. Oh, I wanted the show. We're trying to have this ready in pewter. I showed this before, but I'm really excited about it. All right. Sometimes the clear ones are hard to see where the hole is drilled. Looking pretty good. I love these because they're kind of like, they're mostly clear, but there's just a hint of that flash. I feel like it's almost a neutral, but it's not really a neutral. It's a warm. I think it functions like, kind of like, like in shading, like in a grayscale. like a level 2 on the contrast. It's very low contrast on that. Oh, hello, Tina. Hello, my friends. Thank you for joining us while we do some necklace knotting, some relaxing necklace knotting today. It's not on our usual day. We were at a party. Our friend Brandy had her 50th yesterday at Citizen Vinyl. That was pretty fun. I forgot her gift and only remembered when I passed by the gift table. So I'll drop it off at Horse and Hero sometime. That's a gallery downtown that has cool artwork. Yay, I love it when the beads just string. Let me just see how long this is. So that's what I have so far. This is not long enough. Do I like that pale pink? Sometimes, working with opaques and with translucents, that can be kind of like, I don't know, does that go? It's a little too white, I feel like. Tina says, is that a bear? Yeah, I was trying to make a bear sitting under a tree, and it looks like there was an air bubble at the top, and the air bubble looks kind of like an apple to me. Gumnut says, did you make her a gift? I did, and I'm putting it in. My friend Joanne makes these pouches, and I'm putting it in a handmade pouch. All right, so I'm getting towards the end of this, and I know I can see here. Let's see if it's going to be long enough. I'm going to add a few more of the, actually I should put a few more clears in here because this transition, not great. Let's tuck that. I love this. Why is this like a praisiolite? It's like, what happened to my mind? What happened? Didn't remember. Hey, it's this. Some of these are old stock, and a lot of these are not well drilled, so I didn't want to use. I'd be fighting with these guys, so I'll stick with what I have over here. I wonder if these have a nice big hole. That might work. Kind of too gray, huh? You could put it here. It's a little gray. Yeah. I found this one. That's kind of an interesting. I'm looking to pad it out because I feel like I'm going to be short. I'm going to remove that because it's kind of too white, and I don't have anything else that colorway in the piece, so I want it to kind of flow a little bit better. I need a transitional piece, so I'm going to look in here, and I think I would like to use something faceted or round that sits right in here. But that's kind of brownish. Maybe this. Is that too dark? Maybe too dark. Yeah, that looks a little too dark. That's okay. It'll be good. Oh, hi, Terry. Terry says, hi, guys. Good to see you. Oh, yes. We're getting ready to sell this. This is going to debut this weekend. I've been lucky so far. I haven't had to, like, this has been holding up pretty well. And even as kind of not, usually I go over it a couple times. So hopefully we'll have these in pewter for the TGBE. We just got a batch of pewter in. There's a lot of delays right now with the postal system. It's kind of crazy. I don't like, what, it's kind of funny. I have 4 here, and I don't know why. I don't want it to do even numbers, so I'm going to add another one. It's a little bit lighter. Gumnet says, what did you make her? I have never received a handmade gift from anyone except for my kids when they were little. You know, the macaroni necklace. I made Brandy a necklace. I've already packaged it up, and it's in, or I already have it in a bag, and it's downstairs. But I hope she likes it. I usually make necklaces for my friends. I make something special. And usually I look at their social media, and I look at what they wear, and I try to pick beads that looks like they would like them. Yeah, all of these have been fitting just fine. This I feel like is a very therapeutic type of necklace. Even more so, I think, than regular, stringing on other things. Where's the hole on this? It's so shiny, I can't see the hole. And the other reason I probably can't see the hole is because I was wearing my Optivisors, but they were not down on my face for some reason. Oh, I don't like it. Sometimes when they're drilled where the hole is sideways through there, I want the orientation to lay like not sideways. I want it to be like centered. So if it's like a pendant, I'll put it back and find one that's the right orientation. All right, let's see the look. Oh, that's what we have so far. That looks pretty good, and I think I'll use this as the clasp. Oh, does that go with it? I bet the hole is... No, it's a big hole. Yes. Now, if you're wondering why I'm so excited for something to have a big hole, then maybe you've never strung pearls, because sometimes you get pearls and those holes are miniature, and I don't like that story. It's like one of my pet peeves in jewelry making. Small holes. All right, I kind of want something pink to end this, so that when my connection point is at a purpley pink, this is kind of a gray green. That's okay. I mean, you won't probably even notice it, but I want it to be the same kind of, a little bit of color right there that's kind of flows into this. Let's see if I can find something over here. You know, it's funny, I feel like I'm talking in a box. And why is this every time I get online, my ears do this thing where it's like I'm like in a box situation, like stoppered, like when you're flying. Could be because of the weather. I feel like it's the weather. I'm looking for something pink. Of course, when I've got my mind on something, that's too pink. I think it's too pink. Okay, we'll just live with it. All right. And also, here's the thing. If you leave enough room and you're like, I made this too short, you can easily add more on, because you could just glue this if it gets frayed. Leave enough so that, say I get down to this and I don't like it, I have plenty of room. Plenty of room. Bonnie, is it because you don't like my weird music? She says it's probably the weird music. The music is supposed to be healing vibes, Bonnie. It's supposed to be a frequency to induce your cells to regenerate. So it's said at certain frequencies. So you'll note that I have two different thicknesses of cord. Doesn't really matter, not that I've seen. All right, I just did an overhand knot to secure it, and then you can do this. Just pull. Make sure it's tight. Pull this way too. Because if you make all of your knots and you don't pull them tight, as you wear it, it'll pull and you'll get a little bit of a gap. So you want to pull it tight and make sure that it's at its capacity for stretching. So you're kind of stretching it throughout. So I'm going to go through this slow. All right, so give myself a little bit more room. And I usually put something soft on this, like a little piece of fabric or something, so that when you are working, your beads aren't clattering against the table. So you have your knot, you slide one bead down, and then I do this. I pinch like the top right under the bead. This is all just resting in my hand, and then I'll, under my finger, pull, turn, so you make a loop, drop that through, and the transition here is where I keep the hole open, pull this all through. And so you're left like this, and then I use my other two fingers to pull it like that. And then, so it's real close, but not closed, so I don't have to get a tool. You can get a tool if you want it, but then I'll do this. You see that? And then tighten. And so you get a little knot, and I tighten this way too. So the first ones, you want to make sure you're like, okay, that looks good. It's not going to stretch anymore. So if it stretches, you can kind of see if it does, and then you can go in and tighten it this way. All right. Turn, drop through the hole, and see the hole? I keep the hole open so everything can come through with this finger and this thumb to keep that hole open, and so that way you can pull everything through. That's the function of that action. So see, that's holding them, and then these two come in, pull it closed, and then I grab these two legs of the thread and do this. Tighten it up, pull. See? You see there's a little bit of wiggle room right here? That doesn't bother me, but I'm going to do this. If it did, it kind of does a little tiny bit bother me. So I'm going to go this way because I don't want it to be gap. And that got rid of, that's the reason that I love doing two threads, is for that little thing there. Is that I could do this and I could get rid of that little gap that was happening. I bought this ocarina on Instagram. It's so weird. It makes such a strange noise. The cats stare at me so hard when I play it. They're like, what is she doing? I'm not going to play it for you because I don't know how to play it yet. But Azalea's like, listen, you got to go do that somewhere else. It's not her favorite sound effect. And so this is the method right here. It's just this all the way down. This is what I was talking about when you're looking at the orientation. See, this one was cut kind of like, I didn't notice it, but see, it's kind of like a little bit like a pendant. See that? I could almost do this. You know, I carry with me little bags of these pre-threaded or strung, I should say. Go this way. See how I'm doing that? Stretching it all out. Getting rid of any gaps. Azalea says I should do a PDF tutorial for this because we do get a lot of questions, even though I have videos where you can watch it, pause it. I think people like the PDF of it. So maybe I'll do that sometime. Oh, I had a bead break. All right, so when this happens, you see now I have this, and this can happen if you have beads that say you pulled super hard and the way this was drilled was very, very close to the edge, and I didn't catch it. See how close to the edge that was? I didn't notice it when I was stringing it. I probably wouldn't have picked this if I'd noticed. So here's how you fix that. It's not impossible, but what you'll need is a set of tweezers like this, and what you do is you just grab the knot Let me see, am I in focus? I've got my optivisor so I can actually see what I'm doing. And you grab the knot and you wiggle it. So you don't want to go too aggressively with the tweezers because you could damage the cord. So I'm just tugging it ever so gently. I'm not trying to poke this tweezers right through there. I'm just grabbing one end and pulling on the other side. And so now I've loosened it up. And I can just remove that knot. And it's like it didn't even happen. So now if it happens like in the middle, there's nothing that you can do. After you've gone past it, there's not really anything. But if you catch it ahead of time, you can fix it like that, like I just showed you. So when you're looking at your beads, make sure it's not too close to the edge. If you're drilled too close to the edge, use that bead for an earring or something. That's what it wants to be. Pamela says, do your fingers get sore when you knot? No, not really. I don't feel like they get sore. You know what my fingers get sore from is when I'm crocheting or when I'm knitting. I made this ring. Okay, so we've got the storm. I don't know if you could hear it, but the storm is in full effect. So I'm going to go a little faster because usually when that happens, our internet is real shaky. So I'm going to go and do a little bit more of this. Yeah, I could see our bars going down, so. Yeah, Bonnie says, that happened to me with my last knotting piece. I had to cut and start over, tied the knot too tightly. Yes, that can happen. That can absolutely happen. All right, so that's what I have so far. All right, my friends, we're at the hour mark. I've got to get some other things done tonight. Got to keep prepping for the live tomorrow. Don't forget there's a Zoom happening. The Great Bead Extravaganza. We'll be doing our preview night. I'm not sure of the times, but we've emailed the schedule. So if you're not on our email list, you can easily get on by going onto our website and it says get 10% off, and you follow that. And we don't send a ton of emails, so don't worry. It's not going to be like every day, every hour you're going to get an email. At most, once or twice a week if there are things coming up, if we have a market or something like that. But we don't send a ton of emails for you to delete. Just if we have something to talk about. All right, let's check it out. It's looking good. And this is how much left. You can see that took about, the bulk of this was stringing. So I would say that was probably, 30 minutes of messing with my color shift. And then this was probably maybe 5 or 6 minutes. It's not that, this is not the time consuming part. Ooh, did y'all hear that? It's getting exciting. All right, I am going to flip this. Thank you for joining us this evening. We got about this much done on the necklace on our knotting project, and it was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed knotting with me and Marty. Oh, he said don't talk about it. He doesn't want to hear anybody talk about it. Yes, it's getting like I have to go around and close some windows. So yeah. We are going to wrap it up. All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining us. We love you out there, and we hope to see you this weekend. the Great Beat Extravaganza. We'll see you soon.